We're in Asheville. Time for the North Carolina vinyl picker to go into Mr. K's. We'll see what we can find in there. Maybe I'll do a flip video. Welcome to the show.
When I look at the special order, yeah. Okay. Okay, the weird thing is that it came in at 10 o'clock on yesterday. 10 a.m.
Good morning. It's time for the North Carolina Vinyl Picker Show. It is Sunday, and I was working on this here, and I got some more to do up there, so I'm trying to display my box sets. I have a few of them, not too many. Picked up a record this week online. I got some stuff from Valdez from Play It Again Records and CDs, a little story about that. And then we went to Asheville, North Carolina, to go over there and try to spend some money for those people over there that was hard hit with the hurricane. And I went to Mr.K's. Been a while since I'd been to Mr.K's, and I got a buttload of stuff from Mr.K's. And then we're going to go ahead and go into 1980. Yes, we're moving into the 80s, and I'm going to show you my top 10 records of 1980, what the picker was listening to, what I was listening to, what the Big G was listening to. So let's go ahead and get right into it. So the first thing I'm going to show you is this record here that I got online. And I've been really getting into Paul Simon lately, really loving his stuff. And I didn't know anything about Hearts and Bones, but I picked it up and it's a Quiax. So there you go. And there's some people in the vinyl community that love their Quiax. Boy, does this ever sound great. I cleaned it up. It was kind of really dirty, but I cleaned it up and it sounds fantastic. Yes. So then I went over to Valdez. I was out running around one day, and I figured I'd stop in and see these guys. And I walked in there, and it's like Groundhog Day. I walked in there, and they're like, "Oh, let me show you around the store. I'm going to take you back here, and oh, the records back here. Nobody ever goes back and looks at those, and those are the $3 records, $5 records, anything below $5, old records, you know." And they said, nobody buys stuff there. I said, well, I buy stuff there because I'm old and I like old records. So, but they act like I've never been there before. And I must go to that store at least, I don't know, 5-6 times a year, maybe every other month, every 3 months. And they act like they don't even know me, like I've never been there before. Let me show you around the back. Let me show you. This is what we have and stuff. It's crazy. So it's kind of funny, you know. I tell them, you know. So I just play the game. I was like, oh, yeah, really? Oh, sure, yeah. So, yeah, Play It Again records and CDs. And they're in Valdez, North Carolina. So if you're in that area, go by and see those guys because they have really nice records. They have a lot of new records. So I don't buy too many new records. And you're going to see my top 10 of 2024 is coming up. It's coming up. It's going to be a huge show. So stay tuned for that. My annual 2024 Records of the Year celebration. That's going to be here coming up here next month in December. So let me show you what I got at Play It Again Records. And these were all $5 a piece. I got I got Carly Simon album that I did not have. I love this song, Coming Around Again. It's a great song. It's a great album. And I'm glad to have it in my collection. And I saw this one there, and it's a Rare Earth. The album's called Ma, and I've never heard it, so I'm looking forward to giving this a spin. It has the embossed cover, and $5, $5. Mick Ronson, yeah, Spiders from Mars, one of his solo albums. I heard he did like 5 of them. So I'm looking forward to playing this some more. I played it, and this was probably the pick of the bunch. I love this album. This album was great. So it's kind of like glam rock, you know, it's like Bowie. I don't know. I don't think Bowie's on it, but. And then I found this one there, Sally Oldfield. Now, I'm all in on Sally Oldfield. Usually she has her brother, you know, Mike Oldfield, that guy, Tubular Bells. He plays sometimes with her. This is a live recording. But not only is Sally on here, I didn't see Mike on here, but there's a couple other people. Ian Mosley's on here. And Ian Mosley plays drums now for Marillion. And he's been playing drums for Marillion probably for 30 years or more. He played with Steve Hackett's band. John G. Perry is on here on bass. And John G. Perry's played on lots of groups that I listen to. So yeah, really going to enjoy this one. I'm going to have to give this a spin later on today. $5. That's an import. Neil Schon and Jan Hammer, they had a little group back in the 80s. And this album sounded kind of dated. It's kind of like Jeff Beck's 80s stuff. Yeah, so it's a little dated. These guys are coming out of the fusion era and they're going into trying to be cool in the 80s, and it just didn't really work. They made 2 albums and a lot of vocals. A lot of heavy guitar though, but if you're into that, then I'm sure that would be just wonderful. Peter Frampton, this is one of his later albums from the 80s, and this was $5. Cafe London, Breaking All the Rules. So I have to give this one a listen. I haven't listened to that one yet. Stephen Still's first album. This is a classic. So this was really wonderful. I listened to this. I got to listen to side 2. And another Carly album to round out. Come Upstairs. Carly Simon, always with her provocative covers and names of her albums and stuff. But yeah, this is going to be a good one too. I haven't listened to that yet. So when you get lots of records like I do, it's hard to keep up. But yeah, I got a nice little haul from Play It Again records and CDs. And I got a picture I'll show you in the front of the store in the video. But then we went over to Asheville, North Carolina. I hadn't been over there in a while because of the hurricane, and Asheville took a big hit over there in Black Mountain and Swananona and all through that whole area, Bat Cave, and that whole area got devastated. Lake Lore. So we went over there and just to try to help them people out, we'll spend a little money over there. And we had lunch, and we had a nice barbecue lunch over there. And I picked up some records there at Mr.K's, and these were all cheap. First, I'll show you the $3 cheap heat. That's all my store shows about this week. It's usually every week now, just about. It's cheap heat. I got all these for $5 a piece at the place in Valdez. Play It Again. And a lot of these records, this is all cheap heat. So these were $3. This is Lauren Nero's, one of her first albums, New York Tendenberry. And this is really going to sound good. I cleaned it in the Humming Guru. Humming Guru is like one of my #1 videos that I have. I need to do another show on the Humming Guru, because every time I do one, I get like 1,000 views. Or my treadmill that I got. I put it together, I put it on there, and everybody wants to watch that treadmill, and they find my show from watching the treadmill video. Who would have thunk it? I don't know. Deep Purple in concert. This was $20. Double album. This thing sounds incredible. And it's on that Harvest label. I don't know if they knew what they had, but this is really good. And I prefer this era of Deep Purple. This one starts off with has Highway Star and Lazy, and a lot of their stuff, early stuff. This guy here, this was a $3 record. Pierre Bensoin. I should know how to speak French. I'm French Canadian. But Bensoin, Bensusan, Bensoin. I'm going to go with that. And somebody can correct me. Maybe the French vinyl addict can correct me. See, I'll put it right here so you can see it. I know it's backwards. Bensoin, Pierre. This album, this guy here is an incredible guitar player. And I bought one of his records there before for $3. And there was another one there. So, yeah, sometimes you got to hunt and peck and search, you know. Cat Stevens, Foreigner. I'm all in on the Cat Man. This is a promo. And this was $8. This one here, I played it last night. Man, does it sound good. And inside this album, and it's got the shrink still on here, it's got the original inner, and it has this cardboard piece that was in there. And I don't remember this being in the regular American release. And this is the third copy now I got of this album because it came in two different colors. It came in a blue cover, but I think the blue cover in American was the second issue release. There's also a quad copy of this, but I don't have that. But this one here, the promo of Foreigner, I couldn't get it in my hand fast enough. I love that album. I love all his records, but especially I like that one there. And what's the other one I like? I like them all. Okay, so Wednesday morning, 3 a.m., Simon and Garfunkel. This was $2. And this one here is 2i. It sounds really good. I put it through the Humming Guru. And usually these records are beat to hell, you know. This one here sounded really good. And this one here, High Anxiety. Remember Mel Brooks? This is a best of. This has got some water damage. It's got a lot of water damage. But it's got all of Mel Brooks's greatest. This is like the greatest hits of Mel Brooks. And it has all the stories about all his For Young Frankenstein, Silent Movie, Blazing Saddles, The Producers, The 12 Chairs. I never heard of that one. And then High Anxiety. So this was sitting there this was $1, I think. Yeah, $1. Probably because of all the water damage and stuff. Looks like it got messed up. But that's okay. It's Mel Brooks, you know. He's a little messed up in the head, too. You've seen his movies. Okay, so High Anxiety. Yes, sometimes the picker has high anxiety, you know. It's a little crazy. Okay, so you ready? We're going to do this real quick. No, not too quick, but we're going to count down the North Carolina Vinyl Picker top 10 albums of 1980. So put in your Wayback Machine and go back to 1980 and see what was you doing back in 1980. Well, I was still in the Navy, of course, but I'd been in, 3 years? So I was getting ready to leave my first ship and go to shore duty. And that'll be next week when I go in 1981. Then we're going to talk about Groton, Connecticut, where I was stationed up in Groton. But for now, the picker is still in Little Creek, Virginia. This one here is outside of the top 10. And this is Mike Rutherford, the bass player for Genesis. This is his best solo album, put it that way. He did Mike and the Mechanics later and stuff, but I prefer this album over anything else he did solo away from Genesis. And this is, Small Creeps Day. If you get a chance, this album here is really good. Kind of progressive. He got a singer because he tried to sing on his second album, and he's just not a singer. But so if you get a chance, pick this album up. It's cheap. I've seen them for $3. It's a great album. If you love Genesis, then you would love this album. Mike Rutherford, Small Creeps Day. Coming in at number 10 is Steely Dan Gaucho. And I don't remember listening to this or Asia back in the day, back in the 80s and late 70s. I think I stopped at the Royal Scam. That was probably the last album I listened to. And that album there, my bro in New Jersey, John, he didn't, at the time, said, Royal Scam, Steely Dan? Really? I remember him telling me that. And, sometimes I remember too much. Okay, so, where was I? Oh, I don't remember that, did I? Okay, so, Gaucho, I'm going to put this at number 10 because I really like this album. Overproduced as hell, like Steely Dan's Asia. But I love this album. I love Asia. And I really like all of Steely Dan's albums, but I really particularly like the last three, probably the best. Yeah. Number 10. Coming in at number 9, I'm all in on Steve Winwood. Love Steve Winwood, love Traffic. And this was his second solo album, Arc of a Diver. Great album, coming in at number 9. I've listened to this album 100 times probably. And all these records, I've probably listened to them 100 times. This one here, coming in at number 8. Joni Mitchell, This is my favorite. I love Hajira. That's my favorite Joni Mitchell, Hajira. But this one here, this has got all the players. The Shadows and Light. This is the live show with Pat Metheny, the Brecker brothers, and everybody. And they're all on this. And Jocko's on this. And this is incredible. So if you love jazz and you love Joni, then this is your go-to right here. And this is a great, there's also a video of this, if you can see that. That's fabulous. So yeah, check this out. This is coming in number 8. I remember listening to this back in the day. I prefer this one over her first live album. This one here is for me. This is the one I like. It's got a lot of songs on here from Ajira. And yeah, it's just fantastic. Coming in at number 7. Well, John Anderson wasn't on this album, but it's Drama. And this is a promo. And John Anderson was not. He had left. And then the Buggles came in and they were on this album. There's some really good stuff on this record. And I kind of wish that John had been on here. But Machine Messiah, just incredible. The opening track alone. And then the bass line from Chris Squire on here is just fabulous. So this is the one album that John is not on early on with Yes. He was to come back though on 90125. We'll get into that later when we get into the 80s further. But here you go. Drama coming in at number 7. Coming in at number 6, speaking of John Anderson, Song of 7. And this is also a promo. This is a great album. For You, For Me, Some Are Born, Heart of the Matter. Love this album. Some people out there saw this tour, but not me. I was probably deployed at the time, and I couldn't see the John Anderson tour. I would have loved to have seen it, but this one here coming in at number number 7 or number 6. Oh brother, I need to mark them. 9, 8, 7, 6. Number 5. Steve Hackett, Defector. Another great Steve Hackett album. It's got the Steps on here, Slogans, Time to Get Out, 2 Vamps as a guest. Yes, this is a great album. This and Spectral Morning. They're like bookend from last time, 79. Spectral Mornings to this one here. It's like it could have been one double album. They're just wonderful albums. And I got to give this a listen. The cool thing about doing this thing every year, every week, is I get to back and play all these records during the week. Go back to 1980, and I play all these records. I've heard them all 100 times, but yeah, coming in at number 4. Wow, we're getting down there pretty quick. Number 4, John Anderson and Vangelis. Yep, this was Short Stories. This was their first collaboration. This is a white label promo. And this was the first time they got together. And they had a falling out later on. And now Vangelis has since passed away. And John Anderson just turned 80 years old. Oh my goodness. Hard to believe. Curious Electric. I Hear You Now. The Road. This is just fantastic. If you love John and Vangelis, if you like Friends of Mr.K, this was the album before that. And check this one out. Coming in at number 4. The heavy hitters are coming up. Number 3, Duke. And this is Genesis. This is a promo. And I used to play this one on my radio show on board my first ship. And there'll be a picture of me with my friend Doug, HM2. And he's since passed away. Doug has. Rest his soul. God rest his soul. He was a really nice guy. And yeah, so we used to play this on the show all the time. We used to play the Peter Gabriel on the air, come on the air, and then we played then Duke came out, and I bought Duke when I was overseas. I don't have that album anymore, but I remember buying it over there, and I played it on the show because it came out while I was on deployment over in Europe. Coming in at number 2, Peter Gabriel. And I'm showing you both of these because one is done in German, this one here, and this was where he sung it in English. And this is, of course, Melt. And this is his 3rd album. This is in Duchess, the German version. Now, he did his 3rd album and his 4th album in German as well as English. So there's Melt. And there's Melt. There's Double Melt. Number 2. Great album. I listened to it last night. Hadn't heard it in a long time. Standout track for me is, I don't know, I love it all. Intruder, No Self-Control. You can tell, punk rock was in vogue because the album is very punkish. Never Forever. Kate Bush coming in at number 1, has to be number 1. I listened to this last night. I can remember listening to this in my rack on my ship over and over and over all the time. I must have had it on cassette back in the day because there was no such thing as CDs back then. And there definitely was no streaming. So it had to have been on cassette. And yeah, just a fantastic album, start to finish, all the way through. Her 3rd album. And I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see another one coming up soon on the 1981. But Never Forever starts off with Babushka, and it keeps on rolling. The whole album I know every word, So that's my top 10. What were you listening to in 1980? Make your comments down below. That's all I got for this week. I'll have some other stuff thrown in here. You enjoy your day. It's Sunday. Don't do too much. Don't work too hard. And sit back, watch the North Carolina Vinyl Picker. Just put them on play, and then you'll just play all day long. You just watch all my 420 shows. That's a little bit too much picker, huh? Y'all take care out there. Hey, Steve Carlson, how you doing today, buddy? Have a nice day up there in Denver. We'll talk to y'all soon. Support them troops if you can, and get out and get that vote in. We'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.